Good afternoon, we're listening to The Social on talkSPORT 2. Let's now talk all things Newcastle Spurs. It was an entertaining game of football. That's how it sounded last night live on talkSPORT. It was a 2-2 draw, but more pressure really on Thomas Frank. He went into that game under a lot of pressure following poor performances and bad defeats at home to Fulham, against PSG in the Champions League, away to Arsenal before the international break. There was that really poor home performance by Chelsea, and lots of Spurs fans not having Thomas Frank in terms of his tactics, the style of play, and also the way he speaks and conducts himself in the media. Let's hear those, shall we, from Thomas Frank. He was delighted with the side's late comeback.
Yeah, of course, that's a great point, especially when you go down 2 times or go behind 2 times. Here we know it's a difficult place. I think it's fair to say that last week was tough. But the way the character and the mentality the players showed and the team showed today was exceptional. I think we suffered the first 25. For the last 60, I think we were very good. I liked a lot about that performance overall. And also dealing with setbacks. Every team needs to do that. I think, for example, it was never the pen to them. We were really talking about the referee call, and that he got it absolutely right. So to also overcome that, I think was great. So many top things. The fans for me was great. You could hear them 3,000 traveling up here, exceptional. Also hear them praising Vic, which I was very happy about.
I can just hear the media guy in his ear going, make sure you mention the fans on us. Make sure you praise them. Spurs 11th in the table, haven't won though in the league in 5 games. Sam Ellard and Flex with you until 5. Sonny Snelling from talkSPORT.com and Inside Spurs on talkSPORT's YouTube channel with us in the studio. How are you, Sonny?
Yes, good. I mean, I thought I'd be coming here ranting about VAR. Probably will be ranting about VAR.
Yeah.
But
you've got bigger things to worry about, haven't you, than
I
VAR?
know. It's just, big 6-pointer on the weekend against Brentford is where my head is now at. But, St James's Park, tricky place to go for us the last few years. So you do take a point in the end, I think.
I'm going to have to stop the video right there because a large majority of you right now watching this video, yes, I'm calling you out there, are not subscribed to the Saints Talk Spurs YouTube channel. The stats on screen right now, that is you. I know it's you, but I'm joking. But it would do me the absolute honour if you went down below right now, left a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell and join the Saints Talk Spurs army.
At the moment, does it feel as if it is almost everybody against Thomas Frank? Do you think the Spurs fans have already pretty much given up on him? And if so, is that how you feel? And is that fair, do you think, so early on?
Do you know what? I don't know what to think anymore because I'm sitting here right now. I don't know if I want him gone.
The cameras are on here waiting for your opinion. We need you to have some sort of opinion here.
The thing is, I don't know if I want him to be sacked because I feel like any manager that comes in right now, Oliver Glasner, Iriola, Xavi's been rumoured. I mean, I think that's highly unrealistic. Anyone in this position would struggle. And I think after, following Ange Postecoglou, who won us that trophy but still finished 17th in the Premier League with 22 losses, was never going to be easy. He had to fix our defence, which he has somewhat done. We're still conceding a fair few bit of goals. But our attack is the struggle at the moment. I know, again, we scored 2 goals last night, but there's still the patterns of play are lacking. And the thing is, at Brentford, he did such a good job. He was always punching up. And, he had 2 players last year in Mbeumo and Vissa who got 40 goals between them. And right now, it's a struggle for the likes of Colomani to even get on the score sheet. So he's got a massive job on his hands. But the whole, atmosphere around Spurs, the whole fan thing, I'm hoping I'm a true Tottenham fan because after what was said about Pedro Porro and that at the weekend, it's just typical Tottenham toxic atmosphere at the moment. But that's been going on for the last 5 to 10 years.
I think as a neutral, that I can't stand Spurs anymore because of what happened in Bilbao.
I thought the 38-year-old Flex was being mature and sensible.
So what the 38-year-old does is look at what's happened in the past and say we owe them one. But I'll be honest, I think you need to keep Frank a little bit longer. I think it's too soon to be getting rid of him. I can see the things that Rob is obviously wrong, the things that are lacking in the team. There is this sort of, is there a bit of imposter syndrome in there, or a little bit is it a bit
still the
big
Brentford
for
manager?
Yeah.
Okay.
He needs to kind of shake that off a little bit, but he's got to learn that. And he's not. How many games have we played now? 12?
13, 14 league games. Yeah.
14 league games. I know that there's a continuation of the poor home form. That's obviously really bad. But right now, as of now, because it's still quite early in the season, Champions League, okay, it's PSG, but you're there. you're still in the FA Cup. Obviously, it hasn't started yet, so you're all right with that. And I think, and the
that would be
league,
Thursday,
so that's fine. Yeah, you never know.
You
never know. But also, I think league-wise as well, like, you're not far off where you need to be. It's so tight.
You're 3 points off 5th place.
You just create so much more change, and then Spurs fans going, this new guy, we want to see this type of football now, and this and this and this. Just let him work.
As Spurs fans, I don't think we know what we want, because we all wanted this. I wanted this, and I still want it to work. But we went from gung ho and Postecoglou football to a bit more pragmatism, and now we're like, oh, this is boring. And we've had Conte, Mourinho, Nuno. The current discourse around Spurs is just really tricky, because I think as fans, we just don't know, one, where we sit in the table. Like, after we beat Manchester City, everyone was like, yeah, top 4. No, if we get like 8th and above, I think that's a successful season, because
you finished 17th.
Exactly.
Mate.
I think we forget. I mean, the Europa League was glorious and it was a great, night for us and the campaign, but there's still teething problems in that. We lost like 3-1, 4-1 to Galatasaray. Like, it is like literally, stereotypically, Rome wasn't built in a day. He needs time. He needs transfer windows. I mean, there's not many managers who come in straight away and hit the ground running. You think Arteta,
and also
Klopp,
has to have he's got his 3 best attacking players who haven't kicked a ball all season. It's Solanke, Maddison and Kulusevski. I think for any manager in the league, in any team, to have your 3 best attacking players are injured, that's going to have a big impact.
Like Son leaving as well, the first season without either Kane or Son. I think there was a stat going around that Son, Maddison and Kulusevski being out and leaving, that's 60 goal contributions last season.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's a massive chasm that you think, can Kudus, Tel and Odegaard close that gap at the moment?
It's not on the level.
I'm in the same camp as you, Flex. I always thought this was going to be a really, really good appointment. I think the work he did at Brentford was really, really underrated. Yeah. I think he showed he's a very, very astute coach. Tactically very, very good, punching well above his weight. And I thought that he was a kind of sensible manager that the Spurs kind of needed. I definitely think he needs more time to implement his system. I think he's trying to work out at the moment, isn't he, the best balance of that midfield 3. I think he's struggling there. So, and again, the injuries I mentioned there is hard for any manager. One thing I can't get my head around, and I mentioned this to Flex a bit earlier, is Xavi Simons. Because I look at the Spurs team, struggle to create chances, struggle to score. The XG is so low. And yet you've got this guy sat on the bench. And I appreciate some people say, he's maybe a little bit too lightweight. I believe he needs a bit like Wirtz in my team, Liverpool. I think he needs a regular run in the team to settle into the league. And I think the Spurs team has to be better with him in it than not in it.
I think it's been tricky because he started out on the left and he had a good cameo against Brighton where he came on and made a huge difference. Then there's been games where he hasn't played and he has come on and hasn't been able to change the game around. Then he started, but the 2 midfielders behind him, Palhinha and Bentancur, have not got that technical ability to really. I mean, some Spurs fans made me laugh that they were saying like he's not getting service, but it's also there's some moments you want him to, how Maddison would
drop deep, pick the ball up.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just not that guy.
But at the moment, like Palhinha and Bentancur, like when they're playing with him, they're just not giving him the service. Whereas like a Sarr or Bergvall, who've got a bit more legs, a bit more, potency to get up the pitch, they'll help him in the long run because there's a technical player there. There's a really good talent. And I also think it's just a tricky situation for him. He's come in. Our 2 other creators are injured. He looked like he was the 3rd choice after Morgan Gibbs-White and Eberici Eze transfer failures in the summer. So it wasn't going to be easy. And I just think he's got to keep his head down and just get a chance. Because even Frank was he's not shown anything yet. We haven't seen anything yet. You haven't even played him. So
does your gut tell you that Thomas Frank is on thin ice, or do you think that given the poor season last season that he is in it? United have stuck with Amorim through some really, really bad times in fixtures. Do you think Spurs will do the same with Thomas Frank?
I mean, at the weekend, if we lose to Brentford, it is quite untenable.
You think it becomes untenable?
I think it becomes untenable, but I'd like to see him given a longer chance.
Because the fans will turn. I think
the fans will turn already.
It's at home again.
If you lose that. There's turn and then there's
we haven't won a home game.
Toxic.
I think a quick
stat.
My friend's a season ticket holder. He's seen 3 wins in the Premier League in 21 games.
That's crazy.
That means each win has cost £766.
God.
And that's what it comes down to.
Give up the season ticket, mate.
Yeah. Hand it in.
Find a new hobby, mate.
That is so bad.
And I guess he also hasn't helped himself, has he? Do you think by sort of digging out the fans? I mean, where did you stand on that? Because I thought the booing of Vicario on Saturday night.
He was right to say
I didn't feel particularly comfortable with that.
I personally haven't booed any Spurs players in those situations. I remember one a few years back when Tanguy and Ndombele was being subbed off against Morecambe in the Cup, and he was trudging off, and there was boos, and it got louder and louder and louder. Booing the substitution. Remember the Lucas Moura Bergvall Nuno sub that he did against Man United? I just don't see the point. I think booing at the end's a bit different because you're reacting to what's literally just happened. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, Vicario, I don't know what he was thinking in that situation, but I'm on the fence about it in a certain sense, because when you're 2-0 down in 6 minutes, how are you going to turn around and go to the 60,000 people crowd and go, come on, like let's get behind the lads?
No, but they were booing him.
Picking on one player though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's when it gets a bit
opposition
harsh.
fans do. Like if we go to an away game, or sorry, anyone plays against your team, and the keeper makes a massive error,
that's different.
You know, for the rest of the game, you get on that keeper's back as an opposition fan. But you don't do it to your own keeper.
Yeah, no, but even like me sat at home
and make him a bag of nerves.
I was a bit like, oh no, I'm not okay with that.
I think he was right to call that out.
I don't rate Vicario as a goalkeeper. He drives me insane.
I couldn't imagine it happening to a striker. Say like Colomani or Richarlison at the other end, Mr. Sitter. You wouldn't boo him straight away when he's on the ball. But with a goalkeeper, it's just when you make a mistake.
But then look, Thomas Frank got booed when he took off. I was at the United game when he took off Xavi Simons. There was boos ringing around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when Tell came on, and he scored. And you know, Thomas Frank didn't say, "See, I told you, they're not real fans." I think he's reserved that level of criticism for something that like just is banger. Like how is Vicario going to overcome that moment for the 85 other minutes of this game if every touch he's booed by his own fans?
Pretty difficult
at home.
In terms of right here, right now, Brentford Saturday. I said Xavi Simons should play. Is there anything else obvious that you think Thomas Frank can do or needs to do to try and get this Tottenham team playing better football?
I think you got to keep like Bergvall or Sarr in there because they're just like young and hungry. I mean, last night against Newcastle, he was probably like next to Romero, our best sort of player. I think Romero is just keep him fit and keep him without getting yellow cards. And we'll be
how about this for an idea? One of Romero or Van de Ven to play as a 9.
Or play him as the wingers. Play him as the wingers.
Van de Ven left wing, crossing for Romero in the box. I think we've got it sorted.
They're our biggest goal threat. That's the thing. I think there's just a few small tweaks because the thing is another thing about Thomas Frank. Every game, the last 4 games, 4 changes, 5 changes, 4 changes. You're not going to get consistency like that.
He doesn't know his best team.
Yeah,
and he's in particular that midfield 3. I think he's really unsure on the right balance of that midfield 3.
100%.
And he's still almost kind of game by. It's a bit like the Slot this season. All those new players came in. You can see Slot kind of game by game, just tinkering and almost trying to guess on the go.
He does have to do that though because he's, like I said, he's new to this football club. I know it has been 14 games in the league and some other cup games and stuff, but he's still trying to find that rhythm, and especially when the team's performing so badly, and he's trying to make sure that they don't just open the floodgates while they do it. And then you see what happened against Arsenal, 2 embarrassing. You see conceding 5 against PSG, even though he thinks the performance was better.
Yeah,
you know, large parts against
impossible to be worse than Arsenal.
Large parts against Newcastle United. Looking like Newcastle United were going to activate but didn't and kept leaving a door open for you. And you get a draw. So that actually is something to build on. If you go and beat Brentford, all of a sudden...
Yeah. We've lost to Newcastle, like, was it 5-1, 4-0?
Yeah, you'll be taking hammerings off them.
So, I mean, you've got to take the points
in the circumstances of how the game played out, that's a good draw.
Yeah.
That's a top draw. No one had that down before. I thought Spurs get done 3-0.
Yeah.
Easy.
Possibly best case scenario gets to the end of the season and Poch comes back. Would that be?
I don't want Pochettino.
Oh, you don't want Poch back?
Never go back to your ex, Sam. That's what they say. And I feel like he's at the US. You know, what happens if they have a good World Cup campaign? And also, like, he's going to be doing the World Cup campaign. So where's the pre-season?
So it's not
Where's the prep?
It's a quick turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, if...
Do you think that one sounds a bit better than maybe realistically what it is?
Well, the worst ones are people saying, bring Ange back. And I'm like, no, watch Nottingham Forest again and see them concede corners.
Or watch Spurs last season finish 17th in the Premier League.
No.
I don't know. I think, like, even picking the next manager is like... names out of a hat and just like don't look and just it's ridiculous.
Because there's got to be real change at Spurs though. Like Daniel Levy gone is one thing, but
and Daniel
if the
Levy
Lewis
family,
family,
didn't he?
Yeah. His transfer window. This is why the whole Daniel Levy thing is so weird because it's still he wanted Vinay Venkatesan to come from Arsenal to be our new CEO. It's still the Lewis family in full control.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps saying new ownership. I hear people ring up talks going, this new ownership need a chance. It's like they're not a new ownership. It's the same people, different face. So
that's the real reboot that has to happen. Like their intent needs to change.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the next manager will just have these guys.
Arsenal are the perfect example because they've had the same owners, but the Cronkies actually woke up one day, smelt the coffee, and went, right, we need to actually spend money, back a manager. It's annoying to always compare ourselves to Arsenal, but look at Arteta in his first season. You know, 8th and struggling, and then 8th again, and it's like sometimes you've got to go through that pain. I mean, us Spurs fans have gone through enough pain. Can't we go through another year of pain?
You won a European trophy 6 months ago, mate.
Pedro Porro reminded us of that. Don't worry, in his statement.
Imagine supporting the team that lost to Spurs in that final. I mean, that must be even worse, right?
And now we look all right.
That's the thing, they look all right.
Invested into the team heavily. Yeah. You know, that's what you got to do. Invest.
That's the thing I always say. Like, United after that final acted, went out and Buemo, Seshko.
It's just because we're massive. Yeah. That's just because we're big, though. That's just because we're Man United.
Yeah.
Because we finished 15th. We shouldn't be getting good players, but it's Man United, isn't it?
It's Man United.
But
Sonny,
this is the Spurs section.
good therapy session. Happy with that?
That was good. Yeah, no VAR ranting. That was the best bit.
That was a disgrace.
You've got it wasn't a penalty, but I thought you have bigger things to worry about, don't you? Than dodgy referee
Romero for Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, there we
So
go.
Romero's at the double.
Sonny, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Latest episode of Inside Spurs. You doing one this week or
It's
next
going out
week?
today, actually.
Going out today. There we go. Go and check that out on talkSPORT's YouTube channel. Good stuff. This is talkSPORT 2. It is the social with William Hill, 18+, GamblerAware.org. And coming up next, we will get all the latest odds with William Hill.